Here we are, back with another edition of the CHL Top 10 show. As always, my name is Scott Van Kuna, and today we check in with a player that keeps breaking franchise records and one that's just getting settled with his new franchise. It's Saginaw's Zayne Parekh and Swift Current's Conor Geekie. It's hard to believe that Zayne Parekh just turned 18 last week. The right shot defender already holds the Spirit's single-season franchise record for goals and points by a defenseman and is on pace to hit the 100-point mark this season. We chat about breaking those records, how all the additions are fitting in Saginaw, blocking out the noise about the NHL draft, and what the Spirit have to do in order to become the first club to go in the front door to the Memorial Cup since the Kitchener Rangers did it in 2008. Here's Zayne Parekh. Excited to welcome my first guest today. He's third in OHL scoring with 79 points. He leads all CHL defenders with 27 goals and 79 points in 52 games. He plays for the fifth-ranked team in the CHL, the Saginaw Spirit, and he's a right shot draft-eligible defenseman at Zayne Parekh. Zayne, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Really, like I said, really excited to have you on. You guys are coming off a 2-1 week. You did the whole northern swing, but a lot happened last week with you and with the team. From practicing in Amville and Dave Drinkle's hometown. First of all, what was that like to see his hometown come out and support him like that?
Oh, it was really cool, having a lot of kids there, especially. It was a cool atmosphere, and it's a pretty cool barn they got there, so it was fun.
And how much fun is it for you as a player? And you're not long removed from being probably one of those kids that was going to watch these OHLers and CHLers come into small barns. How cool is it for you to be able to give back like that?
Well, it's nice. I mean, I'm kind of used to it because in the summertime I'm always practicing out of those barns, but it's a nice refresher, especially during the winter time and seeing all those kids. It's a really cool atmosphere. It's really fun, and Drink set that up and did a really good job with it.
And then you and your buddy Michael Misa both had birthdays last week as well. So happy belated birthday there. What did you guys get up to?
It's nothing special, to be honest. I mean, we had the northern trip, and then I got to have dinner with my family, which is nice, and they got to come down to the Barry game. So not too much, but it's kind of getting used to it because it was kind of the same thing last year around this time. So it's all good.
How nice is it to go on, one of the northern swings, which is one of the longer road trips that you guys would have all year, at this point in the season when you're getting close into the stretch run?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a little different because you don't see those teams as much, and you don't know what to expect going into those games. And I kind of had to ask a couple of my buddies around the league just kind of what they're like and what to kind of expect there. But those road trips are always fun, and it's always nice and refreshing to kind of get a new sense of hockey, I guess.
A good chance to like just another bonding experience for the group.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're already a really tight knit group, and we get to have fun. Really, we actually have a lot of fun on the road, and we're always spending time as a team. So it brings us tighter together for sure.
Yeah, and how important is it to be able to have fun on the road and make those trips that could be long and boring a little bit more fun and exciting?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I remember our road trips from last year too. So I mean, these things stick with you, and the fun you have on these trips resonate with you, and I guess it looking down maybe 20 years later, you'll still remember this stuff. So.
Well, we're recording this on Tuesday, and I only say this because I don't want to date ourselves too much because it seems like you're breaking records almost every single day now, franchise records. But you guys also play host to Flint, North Bay, and Brantford this week. So, like I said, don't want to date ourselves too much. But last week, like I said, you broke another record. This time for the single season points, you already set the single season record by a defenseman for Saginaw with goals. Now you're only 5 points back from the assist record. How many missed calls have you had from Patrick McNeil asking you to just slow down and stop already?
I haven't talked to him, but Hader was telling me a funny story about how he kind of moved in right a couple doors down from him, and they're next door neighbors. So haters said he'll shoot him a text and see what's going on with him.
How cool is it for you to, obviously it's about the team, but how cool is it for you to set these franchise records, these single season franchise records?
Yeah, it's cool. It's not something that like I really thought about this year. I know I guess that goal record last year kind of got to me a little bit in my head, but I mean this year it's for me it's just about winning and enjoying the things I've done with my team. And I mean it's kind of a credit to how good we are because and the special group we got because I mean none of this stuff happens with the guys that I'm surrounded with there.
Well, and I was going to ask that because you shouldn't be able to do this in your draft year. So how have you been able to rack up points like this? You're on pace for 100 points this year, and no CHL defenseman has done that since Ryan Ellis hit 101 back in 2010-11. So how are you able to put up these gaudy numbers?
I mean, I have a great group around me, and I mean, at the end of the day, like they're giving me great looks, and when I'm giving them the puck, they're putting it in the back of the net, and um, I mean, I have a great coaching staff around me too that gives me a lot of trust and kind of a good leash to kind of have a lot of creativity in my game and let me make plays. So, um, it's just kind of everything has been set in place for me and I'm kind of just executing on it.
Well, one of those pieces set in place for you happened in the offseason, and that is bringing in your now captain, Braden Hache. What has Braden done for you and your game? Just kind of, we all saw what he did playing with Brant Clark last year in Barrie. So what has he done for your game this year?
Yeah. Yeah, not only just hockey wise, but I mean you kind of get to see what type of person he is and the kind of things he does around the rink. And I mean he's a true pro, honestly, and much more mature than his age would tell you. And I mean, like you said, he played with Brant Clark, so he kind of understands what um I guess, understands how to play with a guy like me. And I mean, he's stellar defensively, so he makes it so easy on me. And I mean, this year I think he's added a bit of offense to his game, and I've seen it personally. Just the development and his puck skills and touches there have gotten so much better. So it makes it so easy on me to play with him.
And then another player that you guys brought in this year in Dionisio, obviously OHL Player of the Week this week. Another Anaheim prospect. It seems like they've got every single defenseman prospect in the CHL. But how much do you guys kind of push each other to be better? Well, even the whole decor, because you've got some really good pieces back there. But how much do you guys kind of internally push each other?
Oh, it's cool. It's there's no rivalry or anything between any of the guys on our decor. It's kind of just we're all so happy for each other. And when I see Dio go out there and make some crazy plays, it's mind blowing and it throws a smile on my face for sure. And I mean, he's special. So just kind of be able to watch him and see the things he does, it's really helped my game personally. And I mean, he's a special player, so it's fun to watch.
And how nice is it? You mentioned the long leash, but to have guys like Drinks and Laz that let you have that leash to be able to be a little bit more free flowing and creative out there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's perfect, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I mean, these guys are so good at developing hockey players and turning players into pro. And I mean, um, they they really bring out players' games to another level. And with me, it's been evident, obviously. And um, I mean, a lot of my success is credited to those two and the whole coaching staff with Grimesy there and Ruts. So,
Well, obviously we see the good in the stat sheet. I know there's got to be some bad. What's one thing that you do that just drives Laz and Grimes and the coaching staff nuts?
that would be probably a question for Laz and Grimesy there, but I think I've really been working on the defensive side of my game, and I think it's taken a step there, and it's not perfect. It's not where obviously it has to be to go to the next level, but it's a work in progress, and Lazzie's hard on me, and but he's a great teacher, I think this year he's done a really good job at bringing that side of my game to a good spot.
Well, you bring up the defending part, and everybody always says that young defenders need to learn how to defend. It's an easy thing to say, but how do you go about it as a defenseman trying to learn on the fly?
It's game by game, practice by practice. Just kind of picking up things in practice and picking, I guess, Laz's mind and my support staff's mind and asking a lot of questions. So I mean, it's something that it's not going to become excellent overnight. It's takes time, and I mean, just putting in effort every day, and I guess I'm starting to see the results. So I'm very happy with it.
I was listening to the 32 Thoughts podcast earlier today, actually, and Elliot Friedman said that he always saw that Steve Nash was high in the NBA for turnovers, and so he asked him about it one time, and Steve Nash's response was, I have the ball all the time. Turnovers are going to happen." So if you've got the like for you, you've got the puck all the time. Occasionally, there's going to be some turnovers, so you got to take the good with the bad, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no one's perfect, and I mean, Steve Nash is a great example because he moved the ball like no one else could, and I think I guess that resembles in me a little bit, and the pucks kind of finds a way on my stick, and I'm not always going to be perfect with the plays I make, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to make the right plays, and I guess that's part of the development curve of not being afraid to make a couple plays, and that's credit to Laz there, I guess.
So what would you say you take the most pride in your game currently?
You know, I've taken a lot of pride in defending this year. It's been something that I've really focused in on. I mean, the offense is always going to be my bread and butter and something that comes to me just a little more naturally than the other stuff. So kind of just put it in the work on the other side of the game and away from the puck and my box outs and things like that. So I'm slowly learning and I'm taking a lot of pride in it to get better at it.
I know guys are constantly watching video and taking things from other guys. So you say you've got your offensive side, it's set. You're pretty well off there. Who are you watching to take pieces from their defensive game to help you in yours?
Yeah. I mean, I watch a lot of McCarr, Fox. I mean, I started watching Hughes this weekend, especially. I mean, I love the way he plays. This, he kind of controls the game from his stick, and his teammates really trust him. So, watching a lot of Quinn and seeing all the things he does on the blue line, and it's fun to watch, and it's uh, I see a little bit of the resemblance there, and I'm trying to add parts of his game into mine.
Obviously, he's the captain in Vancouver. How much pride do you take in your leadership qualities that you have?
Yeah, I think I'm growing. I mean, I'm definitely not the best leader on our team because we got a bunch of older guys and a bunch of good leaders there, especially with Bloomer and Hash. I mean, two guys that were captains of our team, and I'm learning from Hash and I'm learning from Bloomer a lot. So, um, starting to, I guess, jump in or step into that role more than I was last year, and you kind of see the ways Hash and Bloomer go about it, and kind of picking up things from those two. It's been good for me.
Yeah, how important is it to, you've got like obviously you've got a lot of great leaders around there, but to be a sponge around them and soak them up because in a year it's going to be your team, it's going to be Misa's team, like most of the guys are going to be graduating on. So to be able to soak everything in that you can from them now.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, if I was on a team with a bunch of 17-year-olds, it would be tough. I mean, you wouldn't learn too much, and I mean, it's perfect for me because I got a couple 20-year-olds around me, and a couple of fours that have been in the league for a while, and you kind of ask questions to them and just watch the way they go about their business. And I mean, we have a lot of pros on our team and a lot of guys that'll turn pro and already have that mindset. So just watching them and learning from them has been huge for me.
What would you say is the strength of the Spirit this year? Is it the offense from the defense? Is it the ridiculous amount of center depth that you guys have? Just overall team depth? What's the strength of this team?
Yeah, I think we're a deep team, but I think we've bought in the last couple of months here, and I mean, you saw the way we started, and I think we're a resilient team. We started 4-7, and we've lost 6 or 7 games since then. So I mean, speaks character to this team, and we're a resilient group that just wants to win.
Well, obviously, you guys are hosting the Memorial Cup presented by Dow this year, and because of this hosting, you guys are being followed around in with the Spirit Rising documentary. You know, from the inside, what has it been like to be part of that documentary?
It's cool. It's really cool. I mean, you're gonna look back 20 years and watch these episodes. So being able to document this stuff and have it on video and being able to go watch back and watch this, it's pretty cool. And having Jordan around, he's a great guy and really good at his job there. So
Do you even notice when he's around with the camera anymore?
not anymore, honestly. He's so good at it. He's kind of part of our group of guys, and he's a great dude. So we love having him around.
What do the friends and family think about the docuseries?
I haven't talked to him much, but our whole team thinks it's really cool. And I mean, every time an episode comes out, I'm on it right away, probably watching it within the first hour or so. So our group thinks it's super cool, and the people around me, the family back home being able to watch it, it's cool because you get to see, I guess, the behind the scenes of what's going on, and they get an understanding of this team.
For you, what's the weirdest thing about it? I know some people hate the way they sound. Is it just seeing how you look, how you act on camera? What's the weirdest thing for you?
Honestly, it's gotten to the point where it's pretty normal. He's been around so much, so and I mean we've had the camera around since August now, so you get used to it. But I think the one thing I'm not a huge on is I mean I'm not saying I'm not a fan of it. I'm just not good at it. I'm kind of awkward, but with the mic'd up stuff, it's definitely not a strong point for me.
Hey,
Um,
you're coming along.
yeah.
As we inch closer to the playoffs and we're getting to crunch time here, and with you guys being Memorial Cup hosts, how often, if at all, do you kind of check to see what's going on in the queue and the dub to see who's rising and falling out there?
Not at all, to be honest. I don't think I've checked it probably since the start of the year, and I couldn't even tell you what team's in first or what team's contending down there because honestly, we don't really care what they're doing and what they're up to. We're worried about ourselves and the guys that we're gonna have to face come playoff time. And to be honest, it's like we're we're not really focused on the Memorial Cup, even though it's everyone's dream to play in that, and that's the dream growing up. It's going through the front door for us and winning our division and then hopefully the conference and the league.
Well, how much we're gonna keep on the Memorial Cup trend for a little bit here, but how much does the experience of Donovan and Beck play a role um, in how you guys are approaching the playoffs and the run to the Memorial Cup with them both having gone there in 22 and then last year for Beck?
Yeah, it's big because they bring leadership and experience for us. And at one point in the year, probably a month ago or so, we had a talk and we had a team talk, and those two guys stepped up and talked about their experiences and I mean they've gone through it, they know how to win. So kind of bringing that into this group is huge, and it's going to be big down the line.
But we look at some of the names that you guys brought in this year. So, like I said, Owen Beck, Jorian Donovan, Josh Bloom, Dionisio, Christopoulos, Castle, Hay, even Lalonde earlier in the year, if you want to count. We'll talk just the in-season guys. But how do you incorporate all of those personalities into one room?
I mean, they fit in perfectly. I mean, our group's never been as tight as it has, and I mean, all year we've been a tight group. So those guys have fit in perfectly, and we love them. Like Dono's a unreal guy and an unreal leader for me, and just seeing how he competes in practice and things like that. I mean, it's perfect. So it's really nice to have those guys around.
And I talked to Bloom last year when he was with North Bay, and he told me how well, he took credit for your breaking out as an offensive defenseman. But he obviously, you guys were pretty tight. How nice was it for you? How much did it mean to you when you heard that he was coming back to the team?
It was a special moment. I was really happy. I mean, not as much this year, but last year I was driving with him, and he would drive me to the rink a lot because I didn't ever ride a lot of the time. And um, I mean, not once did he not reinforce positive thoughts to me while I was going through that stretch. And to be honest, probably wouldn't have had the season I had without him. And even when I saw him when he came back to SAG, he kept telling me, "I told you so. I told you this was gonna happen." So, I mean, he's an unreal leader and an unreal guy.
What does it mean to a player when you have, somebody who's been drafted and he's played some pro and then he comes back and he's just still giving you that positive reinforcement?
It's really cool. I mean, he had does things the right way. He competes, and I mean, you could see he's a pro in the way he plays and how hard he skates. So, um, I mean, he's a great kid, to be honest. One of the nicest kids I've been around. So it's nice to have him around.
Yeah, obviously it's really exciting to have all these guys brought in and see, drinks go out and bring all these pieces in to help you guys and your run for the Memorial Cup. But how tough is it on the other side to see some of your buddies leave and go on to other teams?
Yeah, it's really emotional. I mean, I was really tight with Locus, and when he left, I got pretty emotional and sad about it. But um, I mean, it's a business. As much as it sucks, it's you kind of got to learn, and I've learned about it over the past year and a half, and it's tough to see those guys leave. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to win hockey games, and if Drinks thinks that's what it's going to take, I mean, I trust him all the way through.
And Drinks and Laz have been pretty open with you guys this year, before the deadline, obviously, that changes were going to be made. Not everybody's going to be safe.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how much I could speak on it, but he told us even at the start of the season that we have to perform. I mean, no one's guaranteed a spot on this team, and if we didn't perform, you might end up on a different team come deadline time. And he was honest with us, and he went about it in a really good way.
And one of the pieces he brought in really early was Lalonde to come in and help stabilize the crease for you guys. He's been pretty dominant, considering like he hasn't lost a start since November 2nd. What has he done, you know, in the net for confidence with you guys, partnered with Oak, because obviously they're a pretty dangerous tandem for you guys.
Yeah, those two have been great for us. I mean, Lonzie's been fun, and he's another unreal guy there. So he's got a good personality on him, and probably one of the nicest guys on our team there too. So you kind of get a sense of reassurance having those two in net, and going into every night. Okay, Lonzie's starting, Oki's starting. Like there's no worry in our group, and we love those two.
And obviously, like I mentioned off the top, it's your draft year. You got to go out to Moncton and participate in the Quota Top Prospects game. How much are you kind of embracing the draft year experience, and how much do you lean on guys on your team, because you got a handful of them that have gone through the draft year, and you can ask them questions, and how much does that help you?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, I still talk to guys that were on our team that went through it, and I'm always asking questions. And I mean, it's different than what you think it might be, and um, it's definitely a lot more taxing on you mentally than some people would think. But having guys around you and guys that have been through it, I mean, it's perfect for a guy like me, and being able to lean on guys, and they're giving you understanding of what's going on. So it's been really key for me.
How much do you have to try to avoid social media? Because, people can hype you up, but then there's also, the same people that are going to pick apart your game and try to tear you down as well.
Yeah, yeah. Social media is a killer. You definitely don't want to be on there too much if you're going through your draft here, because um, as much positivity as there is, you the negativity hits you hard, and I mean it doesn't feel as good as that positive and reinforcement does, and so just trying to stay away from that, and I mean try and not look at the rankings as much as you might want to. I mean, now it's kind of just playing hockey, so first half was a little tougher, but now it's kind of just really normal for me, and you kind of get in a routine of just playing hockey.
What's been kind of the most common question you've been asked by NHL teams so far? Because I'm sure you've talked to a bunch of them.
I think the one I've probably heard the most is, I mean, you get a lot of questions. A lot of them are pretty generic and the same, but um, you get the player comparison of one a lot, and then obviously what part of your game like needs the most work. So you hear those two a lot, and then occasionally you'll get like a tougher one that's kind of like just asking you or trying to pick between two options there, and they're picking your mind.
Just want to see how you're going to react. There's no real right or wrong answer.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Some have right answers, others don't.
You guys have had a target on your back all season long as hosts of the Memorial Cup. How much fun is it for you to play each night with the target on your back? Do you embrace that pressure?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we have a rivalry with the Sioux in terms of that, and I mean, I guess we took their Memorial Cup from them, and so they're not too kind to us, and I mean, yeah, you have to embrace it because it's something where each night every team's gonna give you their best game because they know they're playing the Memorial Cup host, and um, you kind of have to embrace that, and it's kind of been common, and we've kind of I guess adapted to that, and it's kind of normal for us now.
And then for you, on top of that, people are going to be trying to shut you down because of the way you're scoring and putting up points. So you've got even more of a target on your back. How nice is it to be challenged like that and to have to continuously raise your game to another level, especially in an important year like this, as draft year and Memorial Cup, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a target on my back. But it's not just me on this team. I mean, we got a bunch of studs, so um, every time get five of our guys on the ice are on the ice, we're dangerous, and I mean it's something that I've embraced and I've gotten used to, and just trying to get better every game and see how she goes.
With just 14 games left in the regular season, what's the buzz like? Is it starting to pick up around the Great Lakes Bay region as you guys get close to the playoffs?
Yeah, around this time, usually our rink gets pretty packed, and it's nice when our building gets not sorry, it's nice when our building gets pretty loud and when the fans all come out. So there's definitely a buzz around the city for this playoff run we're gonna make.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you guys obviously want to go in through the front door. No team's done that since Kitchener did it. No team has gone through the front door and won the Memorial Cup since that powerhouse night team in 2005. So, what are you guys, working on in practice right now and tweaking in your game so that you guys can accomplish that goal?
Um, well, we're making changes where we see necessary, obviously, and a lot of that's on Laz, and it's not really up to our group, and whatever he sees, we trust him, and sorry, just trying to take the risk out of our game and not put risk where it's not needed, and just playing a little simpler and harder for us.
Awesome. Zayne, thank you very much for this. 3 games this week. Good luck and good luck in the stretch run, and can't wait to see you in Saginaw.
Thank you.
Conor Geekie was off to an incredible start to the season with the Wenatchee Wild. A post-World Juniors trade reunited Geekie with his former assistant coach in Winnipeg, now in Swift Current, where he continues to have a career season offensively. We'll talk about how important his playoff experience is on an inexperienced Broncos team, why he's fit in so seamlessly, what the team needs to do to improve an anemic power play, and how he's changed as a player since his WHL debut back in the fall of 2019. Here's Conor Geekie. My next guest scored a goal and 8 assists last week. Yeah, that's right, 8 assists, powering his Swift Current Broncos to a 4-0 week and their first appearance in the CHL top 10 rankings this season. It's Arizona Coyotes prospect Conor Geekie. Connor, how you doing?
Doing unreal. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's pretty sunny here today. It seems like we're getting closer and closer to spring playoff time. You getting excited?
Yeah, no, for sure. Speedy Creek's been pretty nice as of late, so super pumped about that.
Well, you guys are coming in at number 10 in the top 10 this week, and the team is 10-4-2 since you joined the club. And those regulation losses are all coming against guys that are ahead of you in the standing. So I kind of want to know, what type of team are you guys this year? Because I'm not gonna lie, when I heard that you got moved to Swift Current, I was a little bit surprised. But there's been people that I've talked to this season that have you guys pegged as as the guys that are going to come out of the Eastern Conference this year. So what kind of team are you?
Yeah, I think we played a lot of grit and a lot of, just simple hockey. I think the coaching staff and all the guys kind of understand that, maybe we might not beat guys with skill right off the hop. We'll wear them down. We'll, use our forecheck. We're pretty deep in my opinion. And once you get to that, probably halfway through the second, I think, a lot of our skill guys take over. And again, it's just about wearing teams down. I think we set ourselves up for really good, pushbacks, whether we're down or we're not. But I think the biggest thing is, we don't really have a ton of high scoring games. I think, our defense is pretty solid. And again, with my experience in the past with, with Winnipeg and stuff like that, I'm really, really happy with this team.
Well, for you, you attended your second Arizona camp this past fall. What did the brass say to you when you got sent back? Because you've been racking up the points this year, 75 points in 42 games. It seems like you've taken your game to another level.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, I think I just kind of found my game a little bit. Maybe the last couple of years I didn't really know, what I wanted to be or, what I could be. So I think, I kind of brought in the D side of things and um, try to model my game after, someone like Barkov as much as possible. I think just a guy that, the old reliable, as my dad would say. But again, I think I just kind of found, maybe that scoring touch, a little more than I have the last 2 years. And definitely just figured out kind of how to be a practice player. I think, maybe sometimes, I caught myself with some bad habits in practice, but I think this year is just emphasizing all the good stuff.
How important is it in practice to make sure, and I hear people talk about it all the time, but to practice like it's a game?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you can ask anyone on our team. I'm probably the most competitive and the most yappy out there. So, again, I think it's just something that you can bring to a team. Whether you're a leader or not. I think it's just something good to have in your back pocket.
And for you specifically, like you said, you kind of found your game a little bit more, but is it also like just being a little bit older, smarter, stronger? You were on some pretty deep teams in Winnipeg. Is it more opportunity now that you've been in the league for so long?
Yeah, I think I definitely had a big summer. This summer I put a lot of work. Away from home. Sorry. Um, but again, I do think the opportunity is a big thing, right? I think in Winnipeg we had so many good players that someone had to accept roles that maybe they weren't used to, or you kind of just had to do it, right? That's any good team. So again, I think now having a lot of opportunity here in Swift Current and even in Wenatchee, it was a lot of fun and definitely trying to embrace it all.
We talked back in December at the World Junior Selection Camp, and you were telling me how much you were enjoying Wenatchee because of how close in proximity everyone was there. How's the transition been to Swift? Because I believe it's about the half the size in population as Wenatchee, so I'm assuming you guys are pretty close there as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it'd be pretty close to like the same size of city. Maybe the population's not quite as big, but again, it's been a lot of fun. They've kind of opened me with open arms, and um, again, it was definitely an adjustment. To say goodbye to some guys that you played with for 4 whole years. I think it's a long time, but again, it's been a lot of fun here, and definitely enjoying every minute of it.
Obviously, you've played against Swift Current a bunch in the past. You played against them once this year. So what were your thoughts on the team when you were approached about the trade?
Yeah, I again, I knew Wenatchee was going to do what was best for them. I didn't really quiz them too much on where I was going or what was kind of happening. As most people know me, I kind of just like the element of surprise, fly on the seat of my pants type of guy. But again, they're always super hard to play against, right? Let me tell you, it's fun playing in that barn, and not coming into it as an away team. It's tough to play in, and again, it's home, right? I think when you come in there every day and you get so used to it, it's tough to kind of go away from. But I always knew they play like we play like pests, right? It's kind of what they did. There's a couple guys that are pretty good at getting under guys' skin. So again, I was really excited to come here, and obviously closer to home, so that's a big plus.
So who are those guys that are now your teammates that you just absolutely hating to play against, but now that you're playing with them, you love to have them on your team?
Yeah, I think Matt Ward goes for a lot of guys in the league. You watch him play, and I don't know what he does. I don't know how he does it, but he just seems to rattle guys' chains a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I run my mouth probably a little more than I should as well. But me and him in a line are a pretty funny combination when it comes to hearing what we have to say.
And you've been playing, like you said, with him on one side, and you've got Misselbacher on the other side, and you guys are heating up lately. Both of those guys are points percentage wise also having career years. So when you're joining a new line like that, and I know you've played with Philmon as well, but how do you guys try to create chemistry to just to know where you guys are on the ice all the time?
Yeah, I think, growing up, my dad I never really had a line, right? I think there was 3 boys and 7 girls, so you kind of just throw around with anyone. But again, it's one of those things where I kind of just, I just try and feel out who they are and who they are as people and players. Whether to criticize them here or they criticize me and stuff like that. And I think we just found a really good balance and all that. And just being able to figure out, Missil's got a really good shot, so I got to get it to him in this situation. Wardo's a pretty good skater, so if I could hit him down the wing, that'd be great. Just kind of keying into all those little things. And obviously, I watched a ton of video just on our guys and, kind of seeing how they work.
How much do you guys kind of get together and talk about, where you like to be or where they, and they say, well, I like to be here in this kind of situation. Do you guys talk about that stuff?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, it's like I said, it's a pretty good balance between us three. Again, I like to have the puck on my stick probably more than that, more than I should. But again, they're pretty good at kind of letting me do my thing, and again, I try and find them as much as I can.
And when you first joined the team, who is the first person or coach to welcome you? I imagine Coach McEwen would have been one of the first ones, considering his familiarity with you.
Yeah, no, Terry was definitely the first. I gave him a ring, kind of seeing when I had to come in and stuff like that. Again, I live with Owen Pickering, so he was obviously a pretty quick one too. And again, I knew a decent amount of guys. There's a lot of Manitobans on this team, so I knew a lot of them kind of coming in here, and it just made it a lot easier.
And what was the message from Coach McEwen or GM Chad Leslie when you arrived? Like, what were their expectations for you?
Yeah, I think they didn't really have much expectations. I think they just said, we brought in what we wanted to bring in, and now it's time to give it a run for its money. And I'm pretty sure my exact words were, "I'm not coming here to lose." So just kind of putting my best foot forward every day, and trying to bring the team, along with me.
And just how different is it going from Coach Roy Summer and Wenatchee, who's as you told me before, a little more old school to McEwen, who just turned 33 last month, half the age of Roy.
Yeah, no, again, it is a little different. Roy's one of my favorite coaches ever. He's hilarious. He's funny. He knows the guys really well. Again, he's gone through it all, right. But Terry's a guy's guy. I think everyone kind of sees where he's coming from, and everyone kind of wants to go to work for him, right? I think he brings that presence in that we're coming here to work, but we're also gonna have fun. And again, he's got a really really bright future ahead of him because I couldn't say enough good things about Terry. That's for sure.
So, the cost to acquire you was pretty steep. Four picks, including 2 first-rounders and 3 players. So when you hear that, how do you stay out of your head and just play your game? Obviously, you were able to do it because 5 points in your first 2 games show us that. But how were you able to do that?
Yeah, I think I surround myself with pretty good people. When it comes to dishing me a lot of chirps and stuff like that. I think it was last night. I was playing COD with Graham Sword, Prasowski, and Bradley Wood, and we were just joking about hockey and stuff like that, and we brought up how they think Wenatchee absolutely won the trade, blah 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 blah. So I think, I definitely have some really close friends that keep me in check and allow me to kind of just be myself.
And I gotta know, 96. How come 96? 28 your entire career, and now 96.
Yeah, I knew one of the 20-year-olds, had number 28 when I was going in there, and then he ended up getting traded. But I think for me, I was kind of just like, why not? Again, I fly on the seat of my pants. Is I like the look of the number. I like Grantanen as a player, so I was kind of just like new start. And in my family is kind of just a big joke. I again I it sounds bad, but when you talk to my family, you get the point that we're just kind of out there to do our thing. The number and the pink visor and that stuff doesn't really matter. It's kind of just about going and doing your thing.
It does look good. I got to admit, it looks good. But I'm also a big fan of the Swift jerseys. Like, it seems like every jersey that they put out is a pretty sick jersey. I love the colors. I love all the logos that they have. What do you think?
Mhm. Yeah, no, 100%. We actually wore the throwbacks the other night, and they were unreal. So they got some pretty good color combinations.
How tight is the dressing room that you came into? I believe there's only around 4 of you guys that aren't, drafted, developed guys by Swift Current. So they've got to be, I'm assuming, a pretty tight group.
Yeah, no, I think for sure when you first got there. Not saying you noticed it. Like you definitely know who's been there for a while, right? I think they just know what to do. They know the feel and they know the town, and stuff like that. So, me coming in, I probably talk more than I should. So I kind of became good friends with a lot of guys on the team, and again, it's just about enjoying it. I think they can, like I said, they brought me in with open arms, and and kind of getting a real taste of what it's like to play here all your life and or all your career, I should say, and again, really enjoying all of it.
Were you apprehensive at all when you were coming in? Because you've got a big personality, and I could imagine that, you know, some people might be rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, and again, that's just part of me, growing up and maturing as a person. I think you just kind of have to find that happy medium. For sure now, I'd say I give it to just about everyone every day. But at the start, I think you just kind of pick and choose, right? You kind of feel out who's kind of got that similar personality, and who's one that you just kind of have to listen and hear them talk and maybe say hi, hello, or whatever. But now I think everyone kind of knows who I am and what I'm about. So we joke around quite a bit.
All right, I gotta ask the tough, hard hitting question here now. The power play. What is going on with the power play? third worst in the WHL right now at 19, just over 19%. The last 10 games, you guys are 7 for 46. In the last four, though, it's a little bit better. You're 6 for 18, which is I think about 33%. But there was a run of 6 games there where you guys went 1 for 8. And obviously, with all of your playoff experience, how important special teams is, especially in the playoffs when there's scoring chances are at a premium. But what do you guys have to do to try to fix that power play?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things where you kind of just, go about your business. I think we were switching a lot of things around, and I think you get new guys in the room, and guys are, figuring out who's trying to be what and who needs to be where, right? And again, everyone goes on those skids. I mean, obviously, it was probably longer than we wanted it to. But again, it just goes to show that maybe we are the third worst in the kind of league or whatever. But you saw the rankings, right? I hate to be that guy, but our power play is not even at its best right now. So I think we're really starting to come into it. And again, we're kind of back to the positions we think is going to be best, and we'll see where it goes. I'm sure everyone's kind of gonna pull it all together kind of in the end stretch here. But again, it's one of those things where, you kind of just accept it, and every team has to go through a skid of some sort, whether it's losses, power play, PK, whatever it may be.
So how much do you have to just trust the process and know that we're going through a slump now, but if we keep doing what we're doing and don't try to change everything, we'll come out on the right side of it.
Yeah, no, I think again, even in Winnipeg, I'm not saying we ever had that power play issue, but it again, it's one of those things where you just kind of go with the flow. It's easy for me to say because that's kind of how I run my whole life around everything. But you just gotta kind of believe that what we're doing is gonna work eventually, and it has, right? I think like you said, in our last 4 games, I think we scored a power play goal a game, right? And that's what's kind of won us those games, right? So um, yeah, we're just kind of figuring it out, and we're figuring out, the new staff, some of the new players, and figuring out what roles they play. And I was on the flank for a while, and now I'm in that front. And we're starting to score a little bit, so you just kind of find that happy medium, and just allow it to kind of take its course.
Do you ever say anything into the room when you're going through a bit of a slump with the experience that you've had on Winnipeg or Wenatchee?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say we've gone in like I mean, we went on little bit of a losing streak there, but again, those are games that, we believe we can win. So I'm not gonna, tell guys what they can and can't do. And, I definitely have experience in the playoffs and the stuff like that, and playing with, super duper high caliber players, but, like Matt Savoy for an instance. But again, it's one of those things where you just kind of let the guys figure it out. I think, I'm there if they need me. I don't like bringing up, Winnipeg or, the playoff run that we had and stuff like that. I kind of just go about my business. But don't get me wrong, I definitely talk in the room and make sure that everyone's kind of on the right page. When it comes to practice time, it's work time. It's here we are, we got to do this kind of thing. But when it comes to the power play, it's just one of those things where you can't really, the more you get on guys, the harder they grip their sticks, and the worse it's gonna get.
So when we get to the playoffs and you've only got 13 games left in the regular season, obviously you've got the most playoff experience on the team with 34 games. Then it's Ryan McCleary with 20 games that he had with Portland, and then after that it's Tyson Galloway with 5 playoff games. The rest of the guys on the team, there's no playoff experience yet. So you say you don't want to talk about Winnipeg or anything, and I understand that. So do you just kind of make guys aware by how you're practicing and carrying yourself, or just say, like if anybody has questions, I'm available. How do you kind of let them lean on you with your experience in the playoffs, because it's a different beast.
Yeah, no, it for sure is, and I think the way we play the game, I think we play that playoff hockey. I think if anyone watched the game against Moose Jaw, right, it's a battle. It's a battle. It comes down to, the wire. I think we scored, 2 goals in the 3rd period, and, before that, it was a tie game, right? It just goes back and forth, back and forth. But, it's one of those things where for us, we just, or for me anyways, it's just about practice. I think, I go into practice every day and just, try and, push other guys and push guys that maybe aren't pushing as hard as the others, just to make sure everyone's kind of pulling on the rope in the same direction. And I think in the gym and, whether we're doing something as a team, it's just trying to find that happy medium without being arrogant and just kind of saying, hey, like we gotta put the work boots on today. And I think, with our win streak, whatever you want to call it, that we got going on right now, I think, you're really starting to see it come together.
For you, you hit the 200 WHL game mark last week. Also hit 100 goals in the same game. You played your first game way back in the fall of 2019. So how much has Conor Geekie changed from, that September game in the fall of 2019 to who you are now as a player?
Yeah, I think, I'm not as big of a klutz, that's for starters. Um, and I'm not, I did put on a little more weight, so I'm not as skin and bones as I used to be. But again, it's one of those things where I mean, I'm sure you've seen your fair share of people come through this and do interviews and stuff like that. So I think you look back at it and, you're just kind of maturing. I think, some mature faster than others. And again, it's pretty cool and funny to look back at, how I used to skate and how I used to pass and the stick I used to use, blah 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 blah. But now it's all about just, how can I get to the next level? How can I do this? How can I do that? Right? It's not about it's kind of like a mindset shift, right? You're thinking about getting drafted, you want to get drafted, you're trying to do your best you can, but now it's like, how can I do this for a living for the next 20 years, 30 years of my life, right? It's one of those things that you just try and figure out and hopefully I can be successful in doing that.
Well, one of your longtime running mates, Matt Savoy, you brought up just a minute ago. Obviously, he wasn't in the lineup on Sunday, but I'm sure you guys exchanged some pleasantries before or after the game. And I know you played a couple games against him already. How much competition is there between you guys, especially now that you guys are on competing teams?
Yeah, I think I mean we talk every day, but I think it's one of those things where it's still super duper weird, right? As bad as it sounds, I want him to be as successful as possible. But again, when I'm on the ice, it's no friends allowed kind of thing. But if he makes a nice play, it's, in your head, you're like, wow, that was really nice, that was sick, blah blah blah. But yeah, no, he actually did warm up the other day, and I went up and we talked for about, a minute at the red line or whatever, and I asked him how my teeth looked, and he said, "You look uglier than normal." So he hasn't changed one bit, and I think that's what makes us so close.
And your brother Morgan is having a career year in Boston. Um, how is he enjoying that? I know you guys talk on the regular as well. And what was it like seeing him go through that free agent process?
Yeah, no, I think again he had a kid there, so my niece, I think getting that out of the way. Sorry, I shouldn't say out of the way, but getting that happening to him, and I think he's just really kind of found his game and found his home in Boston. I think he really enjoys it, really enjoys the people in the city, and I can't be more proud of him than kind of what he's doing right now. But again, when during that free agency, it sucks, right? It's someone's job. It's just like working a generic 9 to 5 and you're trying to get promoted, right? I think it's one of those things where it's gonna happen, you just don't really know when, right? So you're kind of always sitting on the edge of your seat, and again, he's hitting it out of the park right now. So yeah, like I said, couldn't be more proud of him.
And then another one of your former teammates, longtime line mate with you, Zach Benson. I'm guessing you're not surprised at how well he's adapted to the NHL with the Buffalo Sabres this year. But What did you think of that first NHL goal that he scored?
Yeah, I mean, again, Benny is to describe him on the ice, just a little rat. He's really competitive, and he's gonna think he's better than anyone, and I think that's what makes him so good. Is he's got the confidence to believe that he belongs there, and you could almost say that he well, he did. He worked himself into that spot, and I know it took him a while to get that goal. Won't ever let him or won't ever let that down. That's for sure. That'll always be one I have in my back pocket. But I think he beats me in how nice it was. I think it's just something. We both kind of had that creative mindset in the game, and there's no one else. Like to be honest, I kind of expected something that was going to be crazy, and we were watching the game and it happened. So he's again special player, special kid, and super happy to be able to play with him for as long as I did.
And for you guys, like I mentioned earlier, 13 games left in the regular season. 4 of them are against Medicine Hat, whom you have a home and home with this weekend, and you're obviously chasing them in the standings. What do you guys have to do this weekend to get the 4 points, which would bring you within 2 of them, and you have a game in hand?
Yeah, I think again they're a really good young team. They play the game, kind of futuristic, if that makes sense. They play with a lot of speed. They play with a lot of, they're full press or they don't press at all, so they kind of keep you on your toes a lot of the time. So I think we just got to play our game. Not really think about what they're gonna do and what we're gonna do. Again, just go out and play hockey. I think we've had a lot of success lately, and just go out and enjoy it. And most of the time when you're having fun, you normally end up on the right side of the scoreboard. So that's what we're gonna try and do.
And you guys have 5 of your games that you have left are against Edmonton and Calgary, who are 2 teams that are below 500. But how do you make sure that you guys keep the right mindset in those games, like they're teams that are, chasing a playoff spot or something, so you don't take your foot off the gas?
Yeah, I think anyone can beat anyone. I think that's just like any league. You know, Edmonton. We've had 2 good games against them since I've been here, or 1 good game, sorry, since I've been here, and I haven't played Calgary yet this year, but Galloway coming over there, he's obviously a great person and a great guy, and he just said, we just got to keep going. I think, we both have the same mindset that we want to, drag this season out as long as possible. So, just keeping the foot on the gas and, not taking the team for granted.
Awesome. Connor, thank you very much for doing this. Good luck in the stretch run here, and hopefully you take Swift on a nice long run.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
That's a wrap for today. Thanks for listening to another episode of the CHL Top 10 Show. Make sure you like and subscribe as we continue to chat with some of the biggest and brightest names across the Canadian Hockey League.